Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Corner. I'm Regner. Time for another video blog for FoxSportsDetroit.com. And as promised, I'm going to reflect a little bit about the career of Tomas Holmstrom. A lot of people want me to tell a few Homer stories and talk about what impact he had on the Red Wings during his career. And also, I will have a special a bonus football pick for the Pro Bowl, which will be played in a matter of hours in Honolulu, Hawaii, featuring Ndamukong Suh of the Lions. Calvin Johnson scheduled to play, but he will not because of an injury. And then a Lion that I just found out is playing, and because of that, I think I really have to rethink my pick in the Pro Bowl between the AFC and, of course, the NFC. But first, let's get to Tomas Holmstrom. I mean, I know you've heard a lot since Homer retired last Tuesday about how crazy he was, and you saw his retirement speech, one of the best ever it's being heralded as, because he's a very unassuming and funny and very bright guy who really had a tendency to butcher the English language. And for me, what I really used to like when Homer first got here was well documented. Scotty Bowman used to ride him pretty good and tell him that he would never play, and he was in and out of the lineup. And so Homer would always tell everyone that he was in Scotty's dog yard. And we tried to explain that the dog yard would be a very, very messy place if it wasn't cleaned up, and that he meant doghouse, and he kept insisting dog yard. So that was just one of the things, and I know that everyone used to kind of laugh about that when he would always tell everyone that he was in Scotty's dog yard. But over the years, I got to know him very, very well, and really, really liked him. He and Nick were inseparable. But several years ago, in the, I don't know exactly when it was, like 2002, 2003, I went on a physical fitness plan from the time the Red Wings season ended, which was in April or early May, and I think it was an early elimination, to the following September. And I really got into it. I was exercising and all that, and I went down to, believe it or not, to about 176 pounds. And so I was part of the Red Wing radio network at the time. And so the next year, they always started camp in Traverse City, and they had a golf outing for Vladdy and Sergei Manatsakanov up in Traverse City to raise funds for them. And a lot of people came up from Detroit. It was this grand event. And there would be golf carts all lined up, and Red Wings would be in their golf cart, and then you would bid to be a part of a foursome, and you were assigned to certain wings and all that. Well, Red Wings had not seen me for several months, and I did look considerably different, I guess. And so, the guys couldn't believe it. They were coming up to me. Steve Yzerman said, "Wow, you lost an art. I can't believe it. You're looking great. Keep it up," and all that. So I see Homer sitting in his golf cart, and I know it's the last year of his contract. And as I said, I always had a great relationship with him, and would always talk to Homer just about anything, really, because he's just such an interesting guy. So I went up to him, and I said, "Hey, Homer, trying to bust his chops a little bit. Big year for you, huh? The contract and feeling the pressure. Is the heat getting to you a little bit?" And he looks at me, up and down, and he says, "Yeah, I believe so." And then rides away. I think to myself, my gosh, what did I do to get him all PO'd at me? What's going on? So it was really kind of weird, so I kind of stayed my distance from him and figured, well, he's got to work something out. Obviously, he's upset with me about something. And so, the training camp goes, Red Wings start playing their first exhibition game. Well, when I was part of the radio network, I would be allowed into the locker room right after the game to plug in my headset and my microphone to interview the guys live for the post-game show. And the spot where I would interview the players, or where I had to set up, was right next to the goalies, their stalls, actually right across from them, but very, very close. And then right next to the goalies was Homer's stall. So I walk in, I plug in, and I turn around, and Homer's sitting on his stool in front of his locker, and he looks at me, and he kind of shakes his head, and then he comes up to me and goes, "Art, I'm so sorry. That was you in Traverse City? I had no idea. You look so different." He goes, "Are you okay? Are you sick?" And I said, "No, I finally decided to start taking care of myself a little bit." So, so he laughed about it, and he would always tell me, too much. You lost too much weight. Well, over the years, when I decided to quit exercising again, I have, of course, ballooned up, and look as I do now. So anyway, Homer over the years would tell me, you need to be Goldilocks. You need to be Goldilocks. And I would say, Goldie, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, finally, he told me. He said, Goldilocks, too big, too skinny, have to be just right. You have to be just right. Too skinny before, too big now, you have to be just right. So I said, okay, all right, finally, I get it. But he wouldn't tell me, and I really had no idea what he was talking about being Goldilocks. I don't have blonde hair or anything like that. So that's kind of my Tomas Holmstrom story, to let you know exactly what type of guy he was, and he cared about me. And so, Homer, I'm going to tell you that I definitely, especially with what's happening right now with my mom and her physical health, I am going to recommit myself to fitness. And for me, and for everybody out there, all it is exercise. You've got to find time to exercise. If you do, it's funny, if you exercise, you sort of almost eat right, because you're not all that hungry and you're not binging all the time, and you burn off a lot of energy. So I think exercise is the key, and you have my word. So I'm going to miss Tomas Holmstrom. It is an end of an era, and he was such a wonderful guy. I thought he was never treated very well by the officials. There were a lot more penalties they could have called against the opposition as they were beating him into a pulp in front of the net, and they never did. And a lot of goals that they called back shouldn't have been called back. But that's me being my homer. But Tomas Holmstrom, was a pleasure covering you. It's a pleasure having you as a friend, and I am really going to miss you, although I know I'll see you around town. With that said, I want to really quickly get to the big Pro Bowl. The AFC is favored over the NFC by a point. I was going to pick the AFC, and I'm still kind of leaning that way, until I found out that Lions long snapper Don Muhlbach is going to be on the NFC team. I mean, I didn't know you can be an all-pro for long snapping. And let's be honest, since he muffed that snap up many years ago against Minnesota that cost the Lions at least a tie, if not the victory, in a home game, where Steve Mariucci went on to his rant about great snapper, long snapper, Muhlbach, good snapper, long snapper. Don Muhlbach has been impeccable with the long snaps. So I think that it's going to come down to a field goal, and because of the long snapper, Don Muhlbach, the Lions and the NFC will bring home whatever they play for out there. Probably the last Pro Bowl ever. Take the NFC, getting the point. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Art Regner's video blog. Once again, thank you to Tomas Holmstrom. Everyone have a safe and pleasant day. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.